from hundreds of Canadian wildfires is affecting air quality across more than a dozen states. President Trump spoke on the fire Sunday, saying he spoke to Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney.
I told him, you got to stop these fires from coming in and, poisoning our air. Our air has been poisoned.
Health alerts remain in effect from the Midwest to the Northeast. A Georgia jury has found Black former special education teacher Linda Sturdivant not guilty on all 13 counts of simple battery involving students with special needs. Sturdivant denied the allegations and says she's now considering legal action over the impact the case has had on her life and career. And 16-year-old East St. Louis, Illinois teen Jameer Davis is being charged as an adult in the killing of 5 members of his 15-year-old girlfriend's family. Prosecutors say the deadly attack stemmed from relatives opposing the teen's relationship. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Watch us on Facebook Live. Then hear us on WBOK1230.com.
Late nights in New Orleans. Some voices entertain the city. Some voices changing. You already know who on the air tonight. Gerod. Gerard on the radio. Whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerard on the radio. Truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store. Whole city locked in. French Quarter nights with the rain coming down. Whole city talk, but the truth stay underground. Funny how the silence break whenever he speak. Certain conversations never make the TV. Voice through the speakers got the whole city tuned. Higher ups nervous every time he hit the room. Cause he say what the people been feeling for years. Bringing light to the stories they don't want us to hear. From the uptown lights to the night war pain. Every word hit different when it cut through the rain. Everybody know the truth you never said aloud. Till Gerard hit the airwaves and it shook the whole town. And the streets keep calling through the static in the night. Every word feel different when Gerard go live. Gerard on the radio. Whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerard on the radio. Truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store. Whole city locked in. Streetcars roll out of city, stay awake. Everybody got a story, everybody got a way. Funny how the phones go quiet when he name names. Funny how the pressure rise when he shift the conversation. He talk schools, streets, money disappearing. Backdoor deals that the public ain't hearing. Things get buried when the cameras don't roll, but the people tune in cause Gerard let it unfold. From the jazz in the streets to the smoke in the sky. The Orleans still fighting, still holding it high. And the city feels seen every time that he speak. Cause the truth hit harder when it finally run deep. Now the whole town riding with the station on loud. Hands high while they sing every word through the crowd. Can you feel the city breathing? Every late night conversation. Through the speakers, through the rain. Ooh, New Orleans, don't sound the same. Gerard on the radio. Whole city vibing slow. Late night lights in New Orleans glow. Everybody listen close. Gerard on the radio. Truth in the speakers for sure. From the bayou streets to the corner store. Whole city locked in. Yeah. You're now rocking with Gerard, the voice they couldn't silence. New Orleans, stand up.
Yeah, there you go, there you go, and there you go. What's going on, good people? Welcome to Monday. It is the reality check on Real with Ray Diddy I.O. And she's in the building, y'all. The one, the only attorney extraordinaire. That is Suzette Bagnaris on the Ray Diddy I.O. Mm-hmm. How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I had two of my daughters who live in Houston in town, and the entire family got together. Had some great time by the pool. Put my grandson, who's 3 months old, in the pool for the first time this weekend. He absolutely loved it. So it was a good weekend, good family time.
Oh, so he was in the pool chilling.
Oh, was he chilling? Absolutely chilling.
That's funny. That is funny. I had an opportunity. I went to church, of course, like I usually do every Sunday. But after that, got to say thank you to all the judges. I think at least 10 judges in their robes came to church on Sunday to Fisher Community on the West Bank to let the people know that this is what we look like. We look like you. And y'all need to see us outside of being sentencing people for any type of crime or anything of that sort. So all the judges, thank y'all for coming out and sharing with the people of Fisher Community on the West Bank and Algiers. And the Chief Justice, who is Nicole Shepard, led the way. So thank you to her. Hey, Miss Cheryl. Miss Cheryl.
Other than the music you're playing, New Orleans was my favorite. I never heard it before. You have to do that one again for the whole city of New Orleans. I wish I would have known you was going to Algiers. I'd have probably, but I ain't had the key to my niece's house. But anyhow, I'm listening to you 24/7. Okay.
Okie dokie.
I don't change the channel. All right.
All
Love
right.
you, baby.
All right, Miss
Listen.
Cheryl. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Thank y'all for listening. We appreciate it. We really do.
So yeah, we went and had fun at Fisher listening to Pastor Brown, Bishop Brown, who led the way. He is the man of the house. And it's interesting too that I'm starting to see a lot of the lawyers and justices get together on the weekends and start doing these expungement seminars and seeing how you can get your record expunged. I think it's important that everybody that has an issue with their record needs to go to these to learn how you can, if you can, because everybody can't get their record expunged. And I need everybody to understand that part. And then I wrote my dissertation, if I can call it that, about tomorrow's meeting of the ethics board and the city council and all those folks for this meeting to see if we're going to get a new OIPM or we're going to stick with what we have. I'm a little bit adamant about this because of what we've been through with this OIG. And so I wrote my dissertation that I'm sending to all the members of the city council and the members of the ethics review board. And I'm sending it out today after I read it. So it hits home. I think it hits home. Plus it gives analogies of what we're supposed to have and what we're supposed to be dealing with. And that part right there seems to be lost in the sauce. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Well, the OIG's office performs a very important role as a watchdog, as an investigator. It's a beacon of the public trust.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what it's supposed to do.
Supposed to do.
But I have seen a tremendous failing of that office.
We're in the middle
with respect to Chad
of an issue.
Cockerham.
Right. Yep. There you go right now. And this ain't the first one. Chad ain't the first one. This ain't the first one I'm talking about with the selection for the OIPM. And I think, too, to say that I can go back to when Quatrevo was the inspector general on there's always some type of controversy coming out of that office. And that controversy, to me, seems to be against what should be right. And instead, it ends up being about what they want.
Well, as we said in our show last week, we made it very clear that the office of the OIPM and the office of the inspector general are supposed to be two
Separate.
distinct and separate entities.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're watching now is people just migrating from one office to the other.
And I do not think that that should be. And I really do think that the city council should be paying attention to this, is because this ordinance of separation actually came from them. And if they're not aware of it, at least pull up the ordinance so they will. So that's a part of my dissertation that I have as well. And I'm gonna make sure that everybody can hear it, get the full meaning of it. And if you want to get a copy of it, I'll post it too. And I would hope and I pray that everybody copies that post and shares it on their social media, whether you in YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or smoke signals. It don't matter to me. Share it, because this is important for the future of how we get rid of collusion and corruption.
This is a very important office.
Mm-hmm.
The OIG investigates fraud, waste, abuse, corruption across city government.
Yep. And it looks like in some instances, well, what we're seeing this office do is step out of what is assigned to them, of their office, thinking and making people think they're a whole lot bigger than what they are. And that's concerning. They are no longer the FBI, Mr. Ed Michelle. They are not U.S. Marshals. They are not NOPD. They're not even commissioned to carry. And with that being said, that was part of the problem that we saw before, because he wanted the folks that were in other offices in law enforcement to commission his officers to carry. For what? You're not even in law enforcement like that. Why would you want to carry? How about if something does happen and you shoot somebody, or you're not trained fully and your officers are not trained fully and they carry and shoot somebody? How do you explain that when that's not the role that you're supposed to be perpetuating, if that's a good word to say? So it's a pretty good article, and I hope that everybody understands why I wrote it. So what I will do is post it, and what I would ask everybody to do, I've got over 6,000 to 10,000 folks, depending on what day it is. I want everybody to go to my Facebook page after we post it and share it. And we're also going to send it to the Ethics Review Board, and we're going to share it with the New Orleans City Council. The other thing is for everybody to show up tomorrow. I can tell you now, I'm asking you all to show up, because I will not, because we'll be on the radio or headed to the radio. Because the meeting and the agenda for tomorrow's meeting starts at 3:30. That's 30 minutes before we go on air. There is a open letter reading, or a 2-minute letter reading about who should get this office, that I'm hoping that we could count on somebody to let us know, see if they could read this letter to them to make sure that they get it. Because this is not what I think New Orleanians signed up for. This is not where I want my money to go. It's intertwined. It's going to be collusion. And that's what I thought the separation is going to be. But separation ain't there if y'all put this person or these two people in place. I hope that made sense. Did that make sense?
It made sense.
It made sense. Okay. And then the other thing, today was the funeral of Nolan. We have the audio from his mom and his dad and what they said when they went to the podium as they got ready to bury their son. We'll play some of that for you. And then to let you know, there is another piece of this article that's going to probably circulate in the next week, is the fact that Tyler Perry and Al Sharpton, whether you like Al Sharpton or Tyler Perry or not, they both stepped up again. They put their money where their mouth is. Both of them offered $100,000 for information toward the killing of Nolan Wells. So we know that Tyler Perry had already put $100,000 up. Now he's coming up with another $100,000 to say that if you know something about this and you tell it, you could receive this award. I hate that it ends up being that way. The money makes people talk, but he's putting up $100,000 for information leading to the arrest of if someone killed Nolan Wells.
We're also going to talk about when a funeral home closes its doors,
Mm-hmm.
what happens to the families and what their legal recourse might be.
What you talking about?
Well, the New Orleans cremation service eviction. That's what we'll be talking about.
So, what happened?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to read your letter first.
No, I'm do that after the break.
Okay. So, I'd like to discuss a story that has left many families asking one heartbreaking question. What happens now? This week, the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office executed a court-ordered eviction at New Orleans cremation service. Because the business was a funeral home, the Sheriff's Office coordinated in advance with the Orleans Parish Coroner's Office. The coroner has confirmed that it took custody of 16 decedents and the cremated remains of 12 individuals, while state and local licensing authorities conduct an investigation. Let's remember that these are not just numbers. Behind every case is a grieving family that entrusted a funeral home with one of its life's most sacred responsibilities. Today, I want to talk about the families and what their legal options may be. First, I know the sheriff's office is getting a lot of backlash for this, but understand what the sheriff's office did and did not do. The sheriff's office has stated that its role was purely statutory. That means deputies were enforcing a court order to evict the cremation services. They were not deciding whether the eviction should occur, and they were not investigating the funeral home's operations. The coroner stepped in to ensure that the human remains were immediately secured and treated with dignity. That action was intended to protect the deceased and provide continuity of care during an extraordinary situation. Now, what should affected families do right now? That's the question. If you believed your loved one may be involved, contact the Orleans Parish Coroner's Office as soon as possible. Keep every contract, receipt, canceled check, credit card statement, email, and text message related to the funeral arrangements that you made. Write down a timeline of what happened, including dates, conversations, and any additional expenses you have incurred. Those records are going to become very important. Now, what legal rights might the families have? I'm getting asked a lot of questions about that. If a family paid for services that were never completed, they may have a claim for breach of contract and may be entitled to recover the money they paid and any additional expenses they had to incur to complete the funeral arrangements elsewhere. If investigators determine that there were failures in the handling of remains, communicating with families, or performing contractual obligations, there may also be negligence claims or other causes of action recognized under Louisiana law, such as extreme emotional distress. Whether those claims exist will depend on the evidence uncovered during the investigation. If this involved a prepaid funeral contract, another important question is whether those funds were properly safeguarded under Louisiana law. Families should not assume that prepaid money is simply gone. The structure of the contract and the handling of the funds are going to matter. There are very important questions investigators will likely ask. When did the funeral home know it might lose possession of the property? Were the families notified of any interruption in operations? Were contracts still being accepted while eviction proceedings were pending? Because then they knew what was about to happen. and didn't do anything to notify anybody. Were all the remains properly identified, documented, and preserved? Were prepaid funds handled according to the law? Those are factual questions. The answers will come from an ongoing investigation and, if necessary, through civil litigation. I don't want all these families to assume they have no recourse. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear is the business closed, so there's nothing I can do. That is not necessarily true. A business can be evicted and it still exists as a legal entity. Now, I checked the Secretary of State's website today, and New Orleans Cremation Services is a trade name, but it's actually owned by another company. And that company is still active, is still in existence. Mm-hmm. So you may have legal recourse there. There may be insurance policies, business assets, contractual obligations, and other sources of recovery. There may also be regulatory proceedings that provide additional information about what actually occurred. The key, though, here is not to delay. Preserve your documents, communicate with the coroner's office, and seek legal advice if you believe your family's rights have been adversely impacted. Now, funeral homes occupy a unique place in our communities. Families trust them with their loved ones during moments of profound grief. And with that trust comes an extraordinary responsibility. As this investigation continues, we should not allow the facts to develop without us watching them closely. But we should not rush to judgment or conclusions. We should insist on transparency, accountability, and respect for every family indicated.
I have never in my life heard of anything like this. I know that there are business decisions that have to be made, but I'm going to go back to the beginning of your story. Mm-hmm. When you said before they removed everyone, they still had 16 bodies and probably some that were up for, being cremated. The price for burial, the price.
Oh, it's incredible how much it costs to bury
cremation, and you're up for eviction?
Bizarre, huh? Bizarre.
Maybe I got my hand in your pocket, and I'm trying to tell everybody what your costs are. But something don't even sound right here.
First of all, you don't just get evicted.
Right.
Okay, you get behind for a minute. You're negotiating back and forth with the landlord. You have court proceedings. I don't think this just came upon them and shocked them. They knew this was about to happen. I think they have some real liability. And just so you know, I did a little homework. Cremation Services of New Orleans is just a trade name. The real owner is a company called Barber and Saul LLC. Mm-hmm. They're out of Maurice, Louisiana. And they are still listed as as an active company with the Secretary of State. So,
this just doesn't happen like this.
It just does not happen like this.
Let's talk some more about it in just a minute. We'll take some telephone calls too. 504-582-9422. Get your calls in now while we're on break, so when we get back, we can talk directly to you. More coming up.
New Orleans never sleeps, and neither does WBOK. Now, every voice, every moment, and every show is in your pocket. Search WBOK Media wherever you get podcasts. Download, share, rate us 5 stars. Because when you support us, you amplify Black voices and the New Orleans culture.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton.
When it comes to family planning, should you go with a will or a trust?
A will is like leaving instructions to the court. It tells them who gets what, but your family still has to go through a succession, which can be costly and time-consuming.
A trust, on the other hand, avoids court altogether. So when the time comes, everything transfers smoothly to your loved ones.
It's a little more work up front, but way less hassle and expense later. Plan smart, save time, and take care of your family.
This is not legal advice. That's just a tip tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
Did you hear the news? Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom has a new time. Catch us now every Wednesday at noon. Same program, same great conversations. Just a new time. So catch Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom this Wednesday and every Wednesday only on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. In the building, having a conversation, of course, the attorney extraordinaire. We've got her in the building, y'all. That is Attorney Suzette Bagnaris. I sent you that. Did you see what I sent you, Nyron? I actually sent you the young lady. It hurt my heart this weekend, Suzette, to hear this young lady in her car. She's driving, saying, I don't know what to do. My mother died, and I don't know what to do because I paid for the funeral services already. And now I got the coroner and the sheriff's office telling me to come pick up my mother's body and go to another funeral home. And then I got to pay for them to do this. So I got to pay double to bury my mother.
And it's extremely expensive. Another question is, did they already receive insurance proceeds, burial proceeds?
She said she
from
paid
a policy,
for it. Right?
That they are not giving back. I mean, they have a lot of answers to provide to these families. Yes, another funeral home can handle the arrangements, but exactly how that happens depends on the status of the decedent and the family's wishes. Based on the coroner's public statement, the coroner's office has taken custody of the remains, but they weren't just transferred to another funeral home. So the family generally has the right to select another licensed funeral home, but that may come at some cost. So for the 12 sets of cremated remains reportedly in the coroner's custody, families will likely be contacted so that the cremated remains can be released to the legally authorized next of kin. But I already know how that's going to go. It's a race to get the remains. What if one person gets the remains and the rest of the kids don't? And, it could be a mess. It could truly be a mess based upon what has happened with this funeral home. Now, funeral homes are regulated and, that you can contact the regulating agency, to get some assistance with this. The funeral homes are regulated in Louisiana through the Louisiana State Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors. This is the primary regulatory agency, and that board is responsible for licensing funeral establishments, licensing funeral directors, inspecting funeral homes, enforcing professional standards, investigating consumer complaints like the one that would be here, and taking disciplinary action, including suspension and revocation of licenses. You can also contact the Louisiana Department of Health, which oversees the requirements for death certificates, disposition permits, sanitation, and other health-related regulations regarding death. If you need a death certificate and you just didn't get that or whatever it is. And then, you've got the local coroner's office that's not a regulator of funeral homes, but it does have custody of these bodies and remains. And then you have the civil courts where you can file a contract dispute, a negligence claim, a wrongful handling of remains claim, a consumer lawsuit, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That families who are grieving are now having to shift gears to deal with this. I just can't even believe it.
This ain't something, and I know it's bad English, but this ain't something that just happened. This is a process. before the sheriff's office knocks on your door.
Oh, it's a big process.
There's a
They had to know
process
this
they're
was
going-
coming.
They knew this was coming.
They knew this was coming, and they didn't take responsible actions to handle this matter before the sheriff came knocking at the door. I mean, they went through a full eviction proceeding, and they were probably dealing with a landlord who was telling them that they were in default before this even happened. So, there's a lot more to this story. We're going to continue to monitor it. But I just knew there were a lot of people who had a lot of questions and didn't really know what to do in the immediate future.
And you got 12 or 13 cremated bodies in your possession? Like nobody came to pick them up? You didn't deliver them? You're just holding on to them?
They're holding on to them.
Can you play that young lady? Can you play that young lady that this is the lady that was on. This is what made me say, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah, you brought it to my attention, and then, people were asking questions about it. So I just figured I'd do a deep dive, figure out who really owns this funeral home and what people can do.
Go ahead.
So I just got a phone call from Orleans Parish Sheriff Department or Coroner's Department telling me that the funeral home that my mom's body was at has been shut down, and that they have my mom's body now, and that I have to find a new funeral home to do my mom's services, and I have to pay the new funeral home after I've already paid the funeral home that they shut down. Like, how is that okay? If anybody knows like the legal aspect of this situation, please let me know, because how is this okay?
There you go. Now, as you probably see, for all of those that are on Facebook, y'all can see. You can tell she's very distraught. That's number one. Number two, she's driving. And number three, I'm thinking about who she's talking about. She's talking about her mother.
Her mother. And to have to deal with somebody else seizing possession of her mother's body.
Right.
And then her having to go retrieve it.
Right.
Bring it to another funeral home and struggle to figure out how to pay for it a second time.
Right.
And this is a young woman.
Yes.
I mean, this is just unconscionable, in my opinion.
But if that was me, I think I'd be trying to figure out where to start. Now, I know you gave out a whole bunch of...
Yeah, I gave him some steps.
Different steps to
deal with the coroner first. Get it transferred to another funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
See if that funeral home will work with you financially to get this done. And then file suit against these people to recover your money back.
Because they're not
out of business.
Mm-mm.
Now they may attempt to file for bankruptcy or do whatever. So it's important that you get your claim in first.
Yep. Get it in before they...
Get your claim in before they take whatever action they're going to take to try to protect themselves.
Because this story is going to go national.
It is.
This story is going to go national. I don't be surprised if you see this on national news. And not only just see it on national news, but you'll probably start seeing the other side, the other folks coming forth and giving you the sob story about why this happened to them.
There's a whole body of law that just deals with funeral home negligence. It's a recognized area of civil liability. And in Louisiana, funeral homes owe families a duty to exercise reasonable care, comply with professional standards, and treat the deceased with dignity and respect. When they fail to do so, and that failure causes legally compensable harm, a civil lawsuit may be available. So, ladies and gentlemen, funeral homes are not simply event planners. They're licensed professionals entrusted with one of the most sacred responsibilities imaginable, caring for our loved ones after death. And with that responsibility comes a legal duty. So, if a funeral home breaches that duty and causes harm to another, they may be held civilly liable.
That's just concerning. Very, very concerning.
Very concerning. So we just wanted to, give some recommendations, give some directions on what people can do in the immediate future to try to address this. But I do think you need to act with due diligence and act swiftly.
Acting swiftly. That's
because we don't know what's going to happen next.
And I've never heard of anything like this. I've heard a whole lot, but I haven't.
I've had funeral home negligence cases before. I had one where they lost the body, which was a case. They literally lost the body. They ended up burying it in another person's grave.
What?
Oh yeah. I mean, so you have these mishandling remains during transportation cases, these failing to safeguard the property that was entrusted to the funeral home by the family, accepting payment for services that are not performed, failing to properly preserve or refrigerate the remains, failing to carry out the family's burial or cremation instructions. Sometimes you tell them you want your person to lay in state in a casket, and you get there and the person's cremated.
Right.
That's a whole nother kind of
right,
case, you know? Losing the cremated remains. I mean, these things happen. I hate to tell you, but they kind of happen frequently. Hence, the whole body of law dealing with it.
Well,
but this is the first getting evicted. The funeral home getting evicted. This is the first time I've heard of this.
There's something else going on here, and it's unimaginable to me when the story first started of how many bodies that they had to move, whether they were still, in full estate, lying in a state, or if they had been cremated.
Well, what's more concerning to me is I hope that's all the bodies.
What?
I hope that everyone who still had a body with them or cremated remains with them finds their loved one at the coroner's office.
Don't get them mixed up.
And don't hear that they were thrown out or just thrown out.
Didn't something like that happen in Florida?
It did.
When they were taking the bodies, they were cremating, but then taking the ashes, opening up the back door.
And throwing them in the trash. And I don't want to say that's what happened here. I'm just hoping every person's loved one's remains end up being accounted for.
Yes, indeed. Well,
take it away with your next topic.
I ain't got to help you yet. Because I was like, what? This not happening here, is it? And everybody started calling me. Noonan started calling me. He said, bruh, you ain't going to believe this. Then I was like, okay, dokie.
To me, they knew this was coming. And they should have been send letters and communication to these families.
Yeah.
And they should not have taken on new clients when they knew they were being evicted.
You needed to get to a place of end. Not them dying or buried, but a place of end, meaning that your business had to come to an end. And it looks like to me that they got greedy.
Yeah. And continue to collect money.
To have that many instances of cremation or bodies in that funeral home. That's overcrowding.
Well, it sounds to me like they knew they were in financial difficulty and they continued to collect bodies.
Yep.
Knowing they could not provide the services and knowing that they were about to get evicted.
Yeah. So.
But we're going to see how it all plays out in the end.
All right. So tomorrow, for our friends here, and I'm a little bit dogmatic about this because we were a part of the process when it came down to fixing what we saw in the OIG's office as something that could have been shifting their weight around. And this happened during the administration of the IPM, which is Independent Police Monitor, when Susan Hudson was the IPM. And the OIG at that time was Ed Quatrevo. So Ed Quatrevo kind of forced or tried to force Susan Hudson to change a report about the police department during the time when they were questioning the consent decree. And Susan Hudson's report was, you are not ready to move past a consent decree. You need to fix it to be in coordination with the consent decree. And so there was pushback from folks to get her to change her report. So instead of talking to her, they started talking to Ed Quatrevo, and Ed Quatrevo kind of made a threat saying, hey, if you don't change this report, then I'm getting ready to take your budget away from you, and you won't be able to pay everybody, which alarmed a whole lot of people. And it may not have been stated that way, so forgive me if I'm just putting the words in some people's mouths. But as you think about this, it was important to separate the two offices. The OIG was actually responsible for the IPM, but they went back to city council and did a division between the two offices because of the back and forth between the two, OIG and IPM. So I wrote a letter because the time frame for seeing if you're satisfied or not satisfied with the independent police monitor is coming up for a vote, and the person that they're going to vote for, they've got new qualifiers, as well as Stella Cement, who says, hey, I'm going to re-up. I want to be here to re-up. So the verbiage was, we're going to find the top 100 folks that can be vetted for this position. And you're trying to tell me out of that 100 people that were going to be vetted or are going to be vetted, the two top candidates other than Stella Cement are two folks out of the OIG's office. And I'm like, nah, you can't tell me that by circumstance, we got the top folks across the country and the other two folks that are the best for this position come out of the OIG's office. So I wrote this letter, and I'm going to post it, and I want you to take it and repost it. And I'm also sending it to the city council members, as well as I am sending it to the ethics review board, because they're voting tomorrow, y'all. And I know a lot of folks aren't paying attention to that. The letter says, dear city council members, it is imperative that this body of city leaders pay attention to who are the candidates nominated to lead the office of independent police monitor. It was stated publicly that a nationwide search would be conducted and over 100 potential candidates would be vetted. The finalists are now 3, with one of them being the current IPM, Stella Cement. The other 2 finalists, Stephen Kruger and Patrice Rose, currently work in the Inspector General's office. It is no secret that the relationship between the two offices has been rocky at best, and even led to a separation ordinance voted upon by the New Orleans City Council. And it states the evolution of complete separation operating the IPM as a division of the OIG resulted in immediate operational challenges, differing missions, and tensions over case handling and agency autonomy. The inherent conflict of a police monitor reporting to an inspector general eventually sparked efforts to fully divorce the two offices. The shift in 2016 to 2017 to secure true independence, civic leaders, the ERB, that's the Ethics Review Board, and city officials push for complete splits of the offices. The IPM was officially structurally separated from the OIG, and the police monitor began reporting directly to the City of New Orleans Ethics Review Board. Current operations today. The IPM continues its independent oversight responsibilities, while the OIG handles general municipal fraud, waste, and abuse. The New Orleans Independent Police Monitor operates through separate memoranda and understanding to monitor the NOPD. With that being said, I would like to know why the Ethics Review Board and New Orleans City Council are allowing current OIG employees that hold significant roles in the current administration under Ed Michel to be the only 2 candidates out of 100 plus to be finalists for this position. Because of separation ordinance, no one in New Orleans OIG office should be able to be a candidate for the office unless they quit their current position with the office of the OIG and have a 2-year time period before they can be eligible. This situation surely looks like the fix is in, and I think the people of New Orleans deserve better. This situation gives the OIG an unfair advantage while inserting his employees in the final pick, even after a damning email was uncovered allegedly showing the dislike for Susan Hudson, Michelle Woodfork, and Stella Cement. This is apparently more than just a coincidence. And that's my 2 cents.
I think that's very well said, and I think it drives home the inherent conflict of interest of shuffling people who work for the OIPM over to the OIG. It's clearly a conflict, and I don't see why the Ethics Review Board can't see it.
We got to take the break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. Ryan, hold on. We're coming up next.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time, weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
We are the rhythm of the streets.
The flavor in every dish.
The story in every song.
We are New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation.
We help artists build the future of New Orleans.
Because when the culture thrives, our people thrive.
Every note, every brushstroke, every dish is a door opening new possibilities for those who carry our traditions forward. And when we open that door, the whole city moves forward. For New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation, culture is our open door.
Greetings, New Orleans. It's Jamar McNeely, CEO of Inspire NOLA. Join us for our annual Inspire the City Backpack Giveaway on Saturday, July 25th, beginning at 10 a.m. at McDonough 35 Senior High School. Students will receive a free backpack filled with school supplies while supplies last. We also have limited laptops, gas cards, and more. Be there Saturday, July 25th, 10 a.m. at McDonough 35 Senior High School. Let's inspire the city.
When you talk, we listen. WBOK. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 a.m.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Ryan, what you say?
Hey, nah. How y'all?
We're doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm good. I tomorrow, so I might just mosey on down there. Real quick, I'm glad that y'all did the research and figure out where that company was actually based, because doesn't want to scream New Orleans throws dead bodies out the window or something, when in reality it's not, the company's not homegrown. So well done. Also, the letter's very thorough. I think we're going to have to pull straws or do some kind of lottery system or play a game of spades to figure out who's going to read it. But that'll be fun. But I'm at work right now, so I'll just keep on listening to the great information. Love y'all.
All right, Ryan. Thank you, brother.
Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I think that is a very good point. This business is out of Maurice, Louisiana, and the owners appear to be out of Lafayette. This is not a homegrown funeral home. But, that company, like I said, is still in operation, and they're operating under a trade name here. I think that's very important for people to know as they begin to figure out their next steps.
And what are they again? What is it? New Orleans Crematory?
New Orleans Cremation Services is the name of the trademark they're operating under here. Mm-hmm. But the company is actually out of Maurice, Louisiana, and it's called, let me get the name again. It's Barber and something. It's Barber and Saul, Saul LLC. Barber, Barber, and Saul LLC. Their domicile address is 204 West Lafayette Street in Maurice, Louisiana. But some of the agents of the corporation, the registered agent is a George Plochet in Lafayette, and the officer is Nicholas O'Shea Barber, and he lives in Maurice, Louisiana.
So they don't even live here.
No. So I did a little research, just, a little bit of research today, and that's what I came up with. Just to let people know, where to go, who their beef is with, if they should have a beef, and how to proceed from there.
So I'm trying to figure out what's going to be, what's going to be the punishment? What's going to be the
Well, I mean, look, you
issue?
can sue these people to get your money back, but it's more than money to me.
All right.
It's money and the emotional distress incurred with this situation.
But is that all you can sue them for?
That's pretty much all you can sue them for. Your money back and your severe emotional distress is what I would say this has caused. And it's going to be up to those families to figure out how to hold them accountable. But I do think if I were in that situation, I would be looking to bring a claim to get my money back or to get redress for what occurred.
Miss Inez. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, Grand Rising. So, I have some firsthand information on this tragedy. I had to file a report. My mother passed 2 years ago, and it took me well over 3 months to get my mother's remains.
What?
So what's going on? He does not have a license to be a embalmer, so he uses this elderly gentleman.
Right. That's not uncommon. They'll use an embalmer to do the embalming work, especially if they're not but do they have mortician services?
But the owner does not have the license. And the embalmer is old, and he was on suspension, or the state knows about it, and we went to court, filed with the Embalmers Association, and he just got fined. When I went in that day, the lady told me I was the 7th person who had filed a complaint against him.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, I want to be clear. Did you file a complaint with the Embalmers Association for disciplinary action, or did you file a lawsuit for breach of contract?
I filed with lack of services because it was so many things that was wrong. So when you walk in, there's the man who actually has the licenses will come in, but the owner is doing everything, and he's not supposed to be doing that.
Right. So what I'm asking you is, when you did you file a grievance or complaint with the Louisiana State Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors? Okay, that's where you filed. And you basically filed for disciplinary proceedings. What I'm suggesting people to do is to do both. File your complaint, but also file a lawsuit in the district court, seeking breach of contract damages and emotional distress damages.
The issue with that is because you have to go through the embalmers, and then they're brought up to their board, and so the board just gave them a slap on the hand. And I think they suspended, I forgot the gentleman's name, but the owner went right back into doing the exact same thing.
I don't think that they're in the same situation as like a medical malpractice case where you have to file a medical review panel petition first before you can file a
No,
lawsuit.
that's the way you have to go. You have to go to the embalmers. They're going to ask you what your complaint is, and then you have to get everything notarized, and then they create a hearing, and you go to that hearing, and then all of the other embalmers, they make a decision on how far it's going to go and what's going to happen. That's the route. You have to go that way first.
For
Then if you
disciplinary
wanna go-
action.
Yeah, that's for disciplinary.
Okay, that's for disciplinary action.
Right.
We're talking about two completely different things. So you do not have to file a complaint with the Louisiana State Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors before filing a civil lawsuit against a funeral home, embalmer, or crematory. The two processes are
So
are
how long
separate.
do I have? Because I can go back and file a lawsuit.
2 years now. Under Louisiana law, we've changed the law to 2 years instead of 1. A civil lawsuit can be filed in state or federal court depending on the jurisdiction, and that lawsuit will seek money damages or other judicial relief. The claim can include a claim for breach of contract, negligence, mishandling of human remains, negligent infliction of emotional distress, fraud or misrepresentation if supported by the evidence, and violations of applicable statutes and regulations. Now, in addition to that, or in lieu of that, someone could file an administrative complaint. An administrative complaint is filed with the Louisiana State Board of Embalmers and Funeral Directors, and that board investigates licensing and regulatory violations. That board can discipline licensees by issuing reprimands, fines, suspending licenses, or revoking licenses. The board does not award damages to families. So that's two completely different actions, separate and apart from one another, that these families do have at their disposal.
But the board, to me, the board knows what's going on, and this has been going on for a long time, and they've just been slapping fines on them.
Well,
So
there may
it's
be a
really
cause of
come to
action
it.
against the board then.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Very much so.
If the board knows and has just been slapping this guy on the wrist, there potentially may be a claim against the state of Louisiana.
But can I ask you
for
a question?
negligence.
And I don't want to rehash because I know this had to be hurtful. Did you say at the beginning of our conversation that it took you 2 months to claim your loved one?
Yes.
Why?
When I went there, everything was fine. We talked to them.
And what?
Then
and can I ask
they
you where are you
said-
talking about when you said when I went there? There are you?
I
Are we
went
talking
to
about the same place?
the New Orleans cremation in the east.
Oh wow! This is 2 years ago.
At the same company.
Oh yes. And y'all there's a lot of people in Mississippi that uses their services because I met people there had complained that they had been waiting over 2 months to get death certificates. So, yeah, everything was done there, and you did not speak to anybody but him. That's it. So I'm going to research it and see.
Yeah, research it and see. Louisiana law now allows 2 years. That change just came through the legislature recently. So
And to
look
answer your
into
question is because he's trying to do everything, and whenever you call, oh, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that. Oh, we sent the body off. Well, we're waiting for them to bring the body back. And then when you call the morgue, no, we haven't received the body. He's too busy going to pick up all these bodies, and the bodies are just laying there waiting. And then you're trying to hurry up embalming people, and it hurts to say that I don't even know if I have my mother's correct remains.
Oh no. Well, I'm very
Then they
sorry
put
to
her
hear.
birthday was wrong. It's crazy over there, but I'm glad to hear that they're shut down.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that you went through that. That is very unfortunate.
And I wasn't the only one. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
That this board is continuing to allow this to happen, and they know what's going on.
Wow, that's crazy.
All right, y'all have a good one.
I appreciate
All right.
it. Thank you, Miss Inez.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We got to take the break. That's sad. Well, coming up, y'all, we got to take the break here. We'll be back after news.
campus of Xavier University. WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. White House border czar Tom Homan says ICE agents should consider wearing body cameras following 2 recent fatal shootings involving agents.
If you look at the data, body cameras actually exonerate agents more than they, provide evidence of wrongdoing.
Homan told CBS's Face the Nation the incident remains under investigation. A New York man is facing hate crime charges after allegedly storming NBC's Rockefeller Plaza and lunging at Today co-host Craig Melvin. Police say 41-year-old Andrew Truelove was arrested and charged with a hate crime, trespassing, and harassment. And a black man from Cincinnati, Ohio, who spent 13 years in prison for a murder conviction that was later overturned, will receive more than $500,000 in compensation from the state. 39-year-old Marcus Sapp says he plans to use the money to start a business while pursuing additional legal action against the city. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
And we're back. So I'm going to shift gears and we're going to talk about the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. I'd like to share with you the timeline of events that we know so far with respect to the death of Nolan. So on Friday, July 3rd, 2026, Nolan spent time with his parents before leaving to stay overnight at a friend's house. His mother, Christine Wansley, says the last thing he told her was, "Hey, Mom, I'm about to go. I love you." He hugged and kissed his mother before leaving. On Saturday, July 4th, that's the day that Nolan disappeared. At 9:56 a.m., the boat departs a private dock in Ocean Springs. At 11:14 a.m., the boat arrives at Horn Island. At approximately 3 p.m., Nolan is reportedly last seen on Horn Island. Friends later tell investigators they last saw him around this time, 3 p.m. At 4 p.m., a teenager aboard the boat calls a private towing company reporting, "We're sinking." The dispatcher asks, "Is everyone on board?" The caller responds, "Yeah, everybody is on board." This statement later becomes an important point of public discussion because Nolan was not with the group when they returned. At 4:31 p.m., the GPS data shows the boat leaving Horn Island. At 5:52 p.m., the boat enters Fort Bayou. At 6:06 p.m., the boat returns to the dock. At 7:19 p.m., the boat is removed from the water and taken to the owner's home. Around 11 p.m., a friend contacts the U.S. Coast Guard. The Coast Guard later states the call did not require Coast Guard assistance. At 11:07 p.m., Nolan's mother receives a call from Warren, one of the young men who had been on the boat. Late evening, Nolan's parents discover Snapchat and Life 360 locations are in conflict with one another. Nolan's phone appears to be back on land. Around midnight, Nolan's parents contact law enforcement. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office opens a missing persons investigation. Later that night, Nolan's parents retrieve his cell phone, his car keys, and his vehicle, but they later state there were difficulties obtaining those items. On Sunday, July 5th, Nolan's father and his football coach traveled by boat to search Horn Island themselves. At 12:26 p.m., the Coast Guard receives a request for assistance. That afternoon, massive multi-agency searches begin. The massive multi-agency search involved the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the Coast Guard, the National Park Service, Mississippi Marine Resources, Mississippi Wildlife and Fisheries, the United Cajun Navy, and numerous local agencies. On Monday, July 6th at 8:45 a.m., the National Park Ranger Service discovers a body near Horn Island. Shortly after, Sheriff John Ledbetter notifies Nolan's family. And this becomes very controversial because right off the bat, the sheriff says no foul play involved. And this is before anybody does an autopsy.
Mm-hmm.
He's already saying no foul play involved.
It's Ledbetter.
Right. Around 11 a.m., the family identifies Nolan's body. Approximately 1 p.m., the family publicly confirms Nolan's death. On Tuesday, July 7th, the family hires attorney Ben Crump. An independent investigation is announced. An official autopsy is performed. Sheriff's Office then requests photographs, videos, eyewitnesses, information regarding unusual activity. I'm suspecting because Ben Crump done jumped that behind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. July 8th, attorney Ben Crump publicly raises concerns regarding public confidence in the investigation involving a young black victim and possible culpability of white teenagers. On July 9th, an independent autopsy is announced. The Reverend Al Sharpton joins the family's effort. Now, this white judge from Ocean Springs, Judge Ashley Cole, who's the stepmother of one of the white boys on this excursion, publicly states her son cooperated. Her family mourns with Nolan's family, and her family has received death threats. I want y'all to remember that. I think that's going to become a big issue later.
So when is a judge that has to operate by the canons put his or herself in a investigatory process for their child, even though she could possibly be violating the law by even speaking on this issue?
You know, Shakespeare has this quote, "Methinks she doth protest too much." I think this is Judge Ashley Cole trying to get out in front of a bad situation for her son.
Mm-hmm.
She is trying to create spin before anybody even targets her son as a suspect by saying her son cooperated, her family mourns with Nolan's family, and her family has received death threats. Watch out for this Judge Ashley Cole. I think that's going to become a bigger issue. And if you look at it, it's a very long statement that she placed on social media. I'll read it if we have time. She has posted twice.
Mm-hmm.
Then on July 10th, Nolan's parents appear on Good Morning America, and his father says, "If you go with 5, you come back with 5. The family holds a New York press conference. An independent autopsy is delayed because of transportation issues. On July 12th, the mother again asked anyone with photos or videos to come forward. On July 13th, a friend, Trayston Shepard, says, the viral video circulating online does not contain Nolan's voice. He says, "That's me yelling." So somebody must have suggested that was Nolan.
And he said that was him that was
And
having
he said
the
it was
argument.
him.
Right, he was having that argument.
Mm-hmm. On July 14th, the district attorney, Angel Myers McIlrath, announces she will meet with Nolan's parents. That's a little bit late, huh? July 14th? And then she explains her office routinely meets with families during child death investigations. I bet they do, but I bet you they do it earlier.
Right.
Then on July 15th.
Because ain't there such thing as the first 48?
Oh, the first 48 hours is everything.
Right.
Okay. Then on July 15th, the family meets with the district attorney. Attorney Ben Crump announces the sheriff's investigation will eventually be presented to a grand jury. His legal team, Crump, and investigators will jointly inspect Nolan's cell phone. The sheriff confirms that the FBI will be assisting with the digital evidence. The FBI is also investigating interstate threats. More than 60 witnesses have now been interviewed. GPS data from the boat is publicly released. July 16th, ABC releases audio from the towing company call. Sheriff Ledbetter again urges anyone with information to come forward, emphasizing every little bit helps. All this is very important.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, I took it a step at a time. I gave you the information as we know it. But there is so much more to this. And having been involved with wrongful death cases before, we do a good bit of them. It's very important to get boots on the ground.
First 48 minutes.
Take
48
video.
hours. Yep.
Get photographic evidence. Start capturing all of the cell phone data. And what I don't understand is they say they've interviewed 60 witnesses. But what I don't understand is why all of these young people who were on this boat trip have not been hauled down to the sheriff's department and pressed, if not arrested, until somebody starts talking.
Let's take Galloway. He's been hanging on for a minute there. Galloway!
What's going on, Brother Gerod?
What's happening?
That's a nice little timeline of the events that they gave y'all to read out. I can tell you now, 99.5% of that is BS. I've been down here in Ocean Springs, camped out since Friday.
I was wondering where you were going to tell me you went to the funeral today.
Well, tell us what's happening on the ground.
I didn't go inside the funeral. I was outside in the parking lot, and I was out there for a reason. All of those, that's my best friend. That's my boy. I want to find out what happened. None of them showed up except that one little young black kid, and nobody was talking to him.
So none of the white kids showed up at the funeral?
None of them that was on that boat showed up at the funeral. The Tristan guy that you just talked about, that gave that interview to ABC and Rolling Stone, was not there. So I don't care if you claiming you getting death threats. I get them all the time. But if I'm going to go somewhere to see my best friend, my boy, all the stuff that they said, I would have showed up at that viewing. I was there at 8:30 in the morning, and I didn't leave it to the casket, pulled off in a hearse. Now, there was other Caucasian people there that he played high school ball with. There was a few parents there. That Judge Ashley Cole, was not there. So all these people are hiding something. When they said they filed a missing report, I want y'all to understand that this family had to go from Ocean Springs Police Department to Jackson County Police Department, and then they finally met this woman in a parking lot to take the report. That neighborhood, I'm going to put it like this. You have a group, you have a club, you have friends, and then you got that tight circle. Everybody on that street, if you want to call it that, all of these people are filthy rich. Private boat lunches. They all hang, the parents all hang with only certain people. This is a case is we are better than you, and $100,000 is not going to move us. Maybe some poor people that was out there might start talking now. But that group of people, you see them houses, you see them private piers and boat launches, they boats don't stay in the water. They boats is picked up. So the seawater don't rot the bottom. These folks know what they're doing. So a lot of stuff, and it goes back to that sheriff. He has put himself in a position where he has to say there was no foul play. You know why? That judge you talking about, yes, she's only a chancery clerk judge, but that's the same county that he's the sheriff of. She keeps saying these death threats. That's the only reason why the FBI got involved. That island out there is federal island. Why the FBI didn't take over this investigation? Nobody can ever explain that to me. This guy told his folks, we going to take care of this, and it's going to be, I'm telling y'all, get ready to see, unless somebody come forward and say, I saw this person do something to him, this is going to be ruled an accidental death. Don't believe all that crap that's on the internet. You got too many people that's coming up with this stuff on the internet, and I keep asking them, when are y'all going to come down to Ocean Springs and come see actually the Barrier Island or the neighborhood where he was last, where his phone, I shouldn't say last thing, where his phone and car was recovered. No,
I'm waiting for I'm waiting for the autopsy report to come back.
Oh, let me tell you about the autopsy. The state is afraid to release their autopsy because that now you have an independent autopsy that's going to counter them, and they know it. The state medical doctor in Mississippi, it's been 9 black boys that she could not determine the death of. And when they do the independent, thanks to people like Colin Kaepernick and others, they do the independent autopsy. Now you'll find out it was blunt force trauma or asphyxiation, strangulation that these people died from. So they're not going. They're not going to release that autopsy, and they want Benjamin Crump to go first. And I think he's playing. I guess it's a game of Texas Hold'em.
But the thing about this is, this kid's body could not have been completely intact because dental records had to be used to confirm his body. So I don't see how that could be an accidental drowning or something like that. His body would still have been intact
within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours had it been a drowning.
You know
Unless
what?
that's a process.
The sheriff dropped the ball on this case. They treated it as a missing person instead of a potential. I'm not saying it was a crime, a potential crime. See, when you treat something as a missing person, those 3 boys gave a statement, and look, all their statements the same. Oh, we didn't see him after 3 p.m. All 3 of them got the same statement. Nobody has seen that young man since 3 o'clock. And when you don't treat them as suspects, they've had time to wipe phones. They've had time to get their stories together. They have never been really interrogated. They took a statement, because when they say cooperated fully, what they gave a statement to the sheriff saying the last time they seen their friend. That's all it was. Now you done lawyered up. Now, something may be going wrong. But look at the boat. The boat wasn't seen. The boat was cleaned at 3 o'clock in the morning. Who cleans a boat at 3 a.m. in the morning? Come on, man. I ain't talking about that pool picture crap. None of that matters. I'm talking about some hardcore facts. That these young men are being coached and trained by that, in my opinion only, by that judge. She's a lawyer. She knows what to say and what not to say. But I was not surprised that they did show up, Gerard. I'm more surprised that the folks hadn't called them out for not showing up. Don't give me no death threats. You had a funeral. Ain't nobody doing that to you.
Well, I was glad to see, though, Galloway, that the entire football team from
Southwest, yes.
Yep, from the college showed up. All those
Southwest.
young men.
But, TMZ reported that there was a viral video that appears to show a heated confrontation that took place on Horn Island on July 4th. If it had been a black person having a heated confrontation with a white team, I'm sure that black person would have been taken into custody.
That dude
to show motive.
That dude Tristan that said that was him. That was him on that video. Who were you yelling at? Did you call the sheriff or when you gave your statement? Did you tell him that was me yelling at who?
He didn't say who he was yelling at. He just said that was me.
I mean, to me, digital evidence needs to be examined carefully regarding when and where the video was created, whether it was edited or altered, who recorded it, who appears in the footage, and whether the events shown have any connection to the incident under investigation. I don't understand how all these teens have been left to walk around with these cell phones and have not been brought in for intense interrogation.
Because they've treated this, once again, they've treated it as a missing person. Now the person has been found. The sheriff spoke too quick and said no foul play, So they're giving these folks time to cover. Now, in my opinion only, there's nowhere in the world with all those young people out there, I'm talking ages probably 18 to about 35, you mean to tell me you only got one or two still pictures and one video of somebody yelling? Much as these young people play with these phones?
Right.
Come on, man. I just hate it for the family. Because, today, when that woman walked up in there, I say, she going to lose it. And from what I understand, she said she finally broke down. And now, like I said, I wasn't in the church because I wanted to see if they were going to even come outside. I wanted to see. I'm talking about the dudes that was on that boat with him. And I'll say this again: with friends like that, you don't need no enemies. And nobody is talking about if it was supposed to be drinking. Who bought y'all the alcohol? None of y'all are 21. Where did y'all get that from? Mm-hmm. But like I'm telling you, these young boys are in a protected class. Somebody is going to have to probably go anonymous. I'm probably going to have to move out of state if they really want to get the truth. That's how, because listen, when the last time you seen a $100,000 reward for any information in Mississippi?
Right.
Then when it was last time was, Gerard?
Somebody gonna tell something.
You got to go back to 1968 when the civil rights workers was lynched. That's when folks started talking when they said we got $100,000 for information. So it's not going to be the rich people that's in Ocean Springs. It's going to be one of them poor hillbillies that was out there. They're going to talk. I guarantee you. But right now, I don't even have the words to understand the hurt on some of those young people's face. You can tell who was really his friend by who showed up and how that they was looking. Some of them young men's heads was down the whole entire time. They are hurting. But none of them young men was out there. I don't think there was one person that was even on that beach, island, that showed up at that funeral. If it was, they can come correct me. I'm pretty sure they won't tell it. But they all stayed away. And it was not just no 100, 200. It was hundreds. I want to say maybe anywhere from around 600 to 700 people. And Spike Lee, Tyler Perry, all them folks was there. I got to tell people, this wasn't no meet and greet, get no pictures. These folks are generally concerned. But I really hope Spike Lee take this and make a documentary so maybe we can find out something. Because right now, in my opinion, Ledbetter, he's not doing us any justice.
None.
No, none. Look,
no
to me, he's not done any of the things that you would expect to be done in a murder investigation. He was too slow to secure Horn Island and any locations believed to be relevant, like the boat dock. They didn't photograph and document the scene thoroughly. They didn't collect physical evidence, like all the clothing that all of the kids wore that day before it was disturbed. They didn't determine who was present and establish a timeline that they released. This timeline has been released by other people. Because Horn Island is a remote location, weather, tides, and public access can affect evidence. So prompt scene processing was very important, but I just didn't see that level of urgency on the part of law enforcement. Everyone present should have been identified and interviewed individually. Investigators generally try to get separate the witnesses before they can compare stories, record the interviews, obtain written or recorded statements, and compare the accounts for consistency. But as the sheriff has said, he interviewed 60 witnesses, but I haven't heard any of these, interviews being audio recorded or anything like that. I find it odd that none of that has been leaked in some way or another. Mm-hmm. Also preserving the digital evidence. They certainly should have preserved taken everybody's cell phone, looked at all their text messages, their call logs, their GPS data, their Life 360 records, their Snapchat data, their Instagram messages, their photographs, their videos, deleted files, cloud backups, smart watches and fitness devices. All of those things should have been secured. And with respect to this boat, maybe they should investigate this mechanical complaint that the boat needed assistance. If there's nothing wrong with the boat, then that's a lie too. So I just don't know that. Check the bilge pump. They said the boat was taking in water. Did they check it?
And think
We
about
haven't
it.
heard anything.
And why y'all watching the boat at 3:00 in the morning?
Yeah, why are they washing it at 3 a.m.? That's bizarre.
Get the blood off.
I'm gonna tell you this: them folks lawyered up way before Benjamin Crump came into this picture.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you lawyering up if you did nothing wrong and the last time you seen him was at 3? None of them can explain that. Now, you have the right to counsel. Nobody's not saying that. But you knew that the heat was about to come. But you didn't think the heat was going to come from nobody outside of a community where you only have 1,400 black people. Mm-hmm. Now, you international now. Your names, your photos is everywhere. And like I said, these ain't no little kids that's hurting for money. The parents ain't hurting for money. But what they have not counted on was the pressure that's being applied from somebody who's actually dealt with these types of cases before. See, folks may not like Benjamin Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton, but Al Sharpton said something today. I heard him on the thing. He didn't say, I did not come down here to make money. I come down here to give money. And that's when he started talking about how much money he was offering for a reward. Mm-hmm. So for the people that don't like Al and Ben, who else you gonna call? Who else you got right now can bring this type of international pressure to a case if your loved one is missing? Because if you don't, they would have been said this boy did an accidental drowning and go on about their business. But you know what they really want? They want this family that's grieving to meet with that other family and sit there, hold hands and cry and say, we forgive, we don't know what happened. It's not happening this time. Mm-hmm. That father and that mother, somebody have told them, don't you accept this as being no drowning. So I cannot wait to actually the autopsy when the state, because her that crazy lady up there, she's trying to say it's going to take you 2 weeks to find out if he had any alcohol or drugs or what's in his system. So these 2 weeks should be coming up. But in my opinion, and only, if it's an accidental drowning, Sheriff, like you're leading to, the autopsy can tell you that. Or you don't need an autopsy really to tell you that. Mm-hmm. This man they're playing in our faces with our children.
Well, I mean, anytime, and I hope this doesn't sound gory to a lot of folks. It does not. So I know you don't know this about me, but I'm gonna tell you. My uncle used to own a funeral home, and I used to work with him when I was younger. And when someone drowns, first thing you know that they drowned is because they got water in their lungs. When somebody does not drown and they are in water or near water, and somebody say, "Oh, he probably drowned," the first thing that they check is his lungs. And if there's no water in the lungs, that's foul play. Unless he hit his head on a rock, they may have, been playing or doing something and didn't mean it, but it happens. And if something happens, whether it's a racial incident, whether it was an argument that got out of hand, whatever it was, to say that this young man just drowned without any evidence, it's not hard to find out if somebody drowns because there's a substantial amount of water in the lungs. And if that's not it, guess what? He didn't drown.
Gerard, they are trying overtime to make this not about race.
Yeah, they're trying to make this about drowning.
He met a girl, went out with her, and he accidentally drowned swimming. That is the narrative that's being pushed by those men that's on the boat. Sad. Don't give up. But thanks for taking my call and hear the music, my brother.
All right, Galloway.
I got to get up out of here, man. I don't need no more catfish and okra.
All right. Did you get any interviews?
Interviews of people that actually that wanted to go on the record? No. Right. Off the record? Several. These little boys, they like to play with what you call booger sugar.
Not the booger sugar.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
All right, my brother.
All right, brother. Talk to you in a minute. All right, more coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
The current skirmish between Governor Jeff Landry and Mayor Helena Moreno is not a good look for the city or the state. There can be no winners here. Louisiana cannot possibly prosper by weakening New Orleans, and New Orleans cannot prosper by constantly bickering with Baton Rouge. The people did not elect leaders to win political feuds. They elected them to solve problems. Governor Landry's ridiculous statement that New Orleans is no longer as important to Louisiana as it once was has certainly struck a nerve. However, there is a kernel of truth, but it is only part of the story. Historically, New Orleans once dominated Louisiana's economy to an even greater degree than it does today. But since Hurricane Katrina, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and more recently, major industrial and technology investments in North Louisiana have broadened the state's economic base. Economists acknowledge that New Orleans is no longer quite as dominant, but still dominant as it was decades ago. But that is very different, mind you, from saying New Orleans is no longer indispensable. New Orleans, make no mistake about it, remains Louisiana's largest concentration of economic activity. Orleans and Jefferson parishes consistently rank among the state's largest generators of sales and income tax revenue. The Port of New Orleans remains one of America's most important maritime gateways. New Orleans is still Louisiana's international brand. Moreover, there is tourism. If someone in Germany, Japan, Brazil, Canada, or California says they're coming to Louisiana, odds are, as you overwhelmingly know, they're coming to New Orleans. Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, the French Quarter, the National World War II Museum, the Garden District, the food, the music, the architecture. It is difficult to imagine Louisiana's tourism industry without New Orleans serving as its global ambassador. What is unarguably true is Louisiana has become more diversified, not that New Orleans has become less important. As for the ugly mess at the root of this controversy, the restructuring of New Orleans courts, we now have the governor, the attorney general, the mayor, the city council, the legislature, the Orleans Parish grand jury, and the Louisiana Supreme Court all caught up in this struggle over power, local control, and the rule of law, ironically with the attorney general under indictment. The dispute has even spilled into financing, with the city withdrawing a bond request amid fears of state retaliation, with both sides accusing the other of harming the state's interests. To her credit, Mayor Helena Moreno has extended the olive branch to the governor. The governor is being a jackass and so far refused. My advice to the governor is stop being a donkey's butt, sit down with Helena Moreno, be a statesman, and solve this mess. This is Norman Robinson off the top.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
WBOK is pleased to announce the reboot of Crosstown Conversations with host Gene Nathan. A heightened focus on cultural entertainment events and the creators who present them. The new time is now Saturday at noon. Tune into the stories of our exploding creative scene with Gene Nathan on Crosstown Conversations.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Kingfish, you've been holding. What you say?
Hey, G, man.
What's going on?
Look, long time no speak. And Councilman, hello. I'm from a person from back there in that project with you when you was back there.
All
I'm
right.
one of the last living Panthers that nobody know about. I know about that whole locking arms and things with the war wagon. But one thing Galloway took my fire. Galloway mentioned the girl. Why nobody ain't mentioned the girl? Ain't nobody got on no boat to go see no boys. Why everybody's scared to mention that girl? She was a young girl from off on the other side of the tracks. That's why nobody mentioned her. See, she was a girl. She come from on Desire Street. But ain't no, they had to have some girls. What the girls was? When everybody mentioned everything but the girl. I heard all kinds of things on that social media thing. But what about the girl? Nobody mentioned that. Then they run over him with the boat. That's what happened to him. They run over that young man. They run over him. And
So
it
what
was
you
all
thinking,
about
Kingfish? You
that.
think it's the girl that did it?
No, the white girl. She was white. And he was the only big black buck. Hair on his chest. A buck swimming in that water. And that white boy that had that argument didn't like it. He did not like that. And he was the only king of the hill. He was the king. They run over him with a boat.
Mm-hmm.
They hit him. That's what they did. And it was about that white girl. Now, everything is right now, everybody is concentrated on the white boy, but it ain't about that. Jealousy. And there's plenty of that going on in this city. Plenty of it. You see, like I said, straight from the street. You'll be surprised how those people is taking over these areas. And I'm blind and I can see it every day. Somebody new popping up from Arkansas.
I think there
Arizona,
definitely was
Oklahoma.
it definitely was a racial component to this. It can't be denied.
It was.
They can't sell me on the fact that race was not a factor here. They're working too hard to try to spin that narrative, and I just don't think that dog is hunting. And you know, I think it is interesting. You know, this was a group of girls and boys out there. Only 2 kids were people of color. There's a lot more to this, and they're saying he decided to stay back. He made a decision to stay back, to be with another group of friends and come back with another group of friends. Well, who's that group of friends?
They left him.
Nobody's talking about them.
They left him. They left him jealous. And he was the king of the hill. I can just imagine how he looked with his shirt on. Probably had hair in his chest. And nobody didn't want to say it, but it's that white girl. But she was from over the other side of the track, and they didn't want nobody to know that they had that type girl out there with them. But he had first choice to her. When they walked off and went behind the bushes and things, like people do, nobody didn't want to say it. But that's what it's about. Emmett Till, all over, but different people, but it's just the same thing. Nobody didn't want to say it. Everybody want to put it on that boy, but it's that girl. And she going to say something because that $100,000 going to talk. And I know every time she closes her eyes, she think about that young black boy and what they did. She know. But nobody didn't want to say it. She know. And those rich white boys did know pipsqueak. The pipsqueak. They being taught them what to say. But that's going to break down. But it's all about the girl.
I don't think they'll be able to keep what happened a secret forever. There were too many people involved. Somebody is going to say something at some point.
I believe that.
You know, I just can't believe that it will remain a secret. So, you know, unfortunately,
No, they kept that MTL secret for a long time.
Yeah, it may take a while to get down to the truth, but the truth will come out at some point.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I believe you're right about that. G-Man, you been all right?
All right, my brother. How about yourself?
Well, I've been pretty good. That intro you have is pretty good because I hear that you mentioned whoever made that cut, they mentioned the streets of desire. I love that.
That's my boy Reggie. Reggie did a hell of a job for me. So
oh, he did, man. That's a hit.
I told Reggie, I said the next one he got to do one with me and Suzette.
There you go.
So,
but G-Man, G-Man, why we scared to boycott?
Why what now?
Why we scared? Why we scared to boycott? Why? We scared? What's wrong with it?
Nobody want to get in them in the streets in that heat no more. It's
Yeah,
a thing of convenience now for folks.
But there are other ways. There are other ways.
Yep.
You know, like they're building up the city all because of the young man doing the thing at the Six Flags. Now they're doing the thing in Pier 9 and all out there where you at. All that was dead, Bucktown and all that. All of a sudden,
yeah,
they give these people that they sliver by the river, they give them people all that money to that. I wonder if they're going to be union jobs.
We're going to see.
People going to bring people in from somewhere else, you know.
Well, we'll see. All right, Kingfish, let me get these other calls, my friend. I appreciate you.
All right.
All right, good to hear from you.
Yeah, you're right.
Alvin.
Well, that G on the turn. How y'all doing
today?
today?
You Alvin today.
Yeah, we back. I had to drop Mr. Rabbit off there up there in Boston. You know, I had to get from up there.
What's going on?
So, attorney, am I correct when you said or read, when you read the timeline, that there were two different calls? First call was we taking on water, and everybody there, yeah, everybody said. And the second call, the Coast Guard said it was a call that didn't require them to go out. Am I correct to say that too?
The first call said a teenager calls the private towing company and reports we're sinking. The dispatcher asks, is everyone on board? The caller responds, yes, everybody is on board. And then, so that's the call that we're talking about.
So for me, that's the setup.
Yeah, I think that was them covering their tracks. I think whatever happened somewhere between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m.
Exactly.
And then at 4 p.m., they begin their conspiracy to cover it up.
Exactly.
Because he's last seen at 3 p.m., right? And then at 4 p.m., whatever that teenager is that made that call to that private towing company, he knows what happened.
Exactly.
At that point, he's calling to give them the backstory, the cover story.
Yes. So I don't know how they don't think as parents, we don't see those type of things. Because the next thing is this. Like Galloway said, is this your Ace Boone Coon, y'all ride or die, and I play football, so I know how it is, run track, all that. If this is who I'm running with, so whatever happened to you leave with who you came with? And if you not coming back with us, I'm calling your mama to let your mama know, look, he decided to stay with so-and-so, we not really down with them like that. They all right, but we just want you to know this.
But here's the thing that really lets me know that something happens between 3 and 4 p.m. These teenagers do not allow their cell phone, their car keys to be out of their sight.
To come unhinged from their hand. Let's tell it like it is. Unhinged from their hand.
Yeah, they are not going to give up their cell phone or their keys, right?
No.
But the friends ended up with the cell phone, his keys, and his vehicle.
Come on, man. That makes sense.
That's what lets me know something happened. If they were smart, the cell phone and the keys would have remained with the body.
period, or in the water somewhere.
Absolutely.
They'd have been
Okay.
somewhere on the island, somewhere not on shore.
Right. The keys and the phone should have remained with him. They messed up when they brought that cell phone and those keys back with them.
But then again, with all due respect to our kids and all due respect to kids, but that just go to show you how stupid they can be. They're so smart till they're stupid.
Yeah.
You made up the plan in the beginning, but forgot. It's kind of like these guys when we read about, the guy robbed so-and-so, but they found out where he was at because he dropped his cell phone or he dropped his license. Right. Really?
And then the parents apparently had difficulty retrieving the cell phone and the keys from him. They didn't want to turn it over.
Why? You know why?
Yep.
So just come forward, tell it like it is, because I'm aching to go with a little bit about what the last caller said. Where is the girl? Why is nobody saying nothing about the girl?
And then, you know what I really think these fools are trying to hide? The fact that these teenagers were drinking and potentially on drugs.
Yep.
Who gave them the alcohol? Who gave them the drugs?
Yep. All right, Alvin.
It's
We
gonna
got to take our
bigger.
break.
All right, now.
I'm going to holler at you, big buddy. Thanks much.
All right, now. Peace out.
More coming up. But before we go, I need to let everybody know that story about the probably what's going on with this funeral service. The number is 504-810-3995 because I do know folks are saying that they need help. And if that's you, if that's your family, call us. 504-810-3995. We'll see what we can set up a meeting and meet with you and your family and see what happened with you.
Help you get the body somewhere else.
Yeah. More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. Well, this was the deadliest weekend yet in Trump's war with Iran. 2 American troops killed, a third missing after Iran struck a U.S. base in Jordan. A third soldier died in Iraq, dozens wounded, 17 dead since February, and the strikes have not stopped for more than 9 days. Tomorrow, Defense Secretary Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chair General Kane face the Senate to defend funding for a war with no clear endgame. An original $87.6 billion ask that's reportedly climbing towards $200 billion on top of a $95 billion package the House already moved last week. No one in the administration has really laid out what winning looks like or when American troops and Americans are paying for it beyond the battlefield. Gas crossed $4 a gallon this morning, tied directly to the fighting. The war keeps getting more expensive in dollars and in lives, while the mission seems unclear. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
Life has a way of shifting priorities, changing needs, and pivoting plans. Home Bank is there for all of them. Their bankers partner with you for every step along the way, from understanding your needs to celebrating your success. Home Bank is invested in the vibrant spirit of our community and in you. So partner with them. Stop on by any banking center in the greater New Orleans area or visit home24bank.com to get started today. Good for business, good for life. Home Bank, a member of the FDIC.
We are the rhythm of the streets.
The flavor in every dish.
The story in every song.
We are New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation.
We help artists build the future of New Orleans.
Because when the culture thrives, our people thrive.
Every note, every brushstroke, every dish is a door opening new possibilities for those who carry our traditions forward. And when we open that door, the whole city moves forward. For New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Foundation, culture is our open door.
Greetings, New Orleans. It's Jamar McNeely, CEO of Inspire NOLA. Join us for our annual Inspire the City Backpack Giveaway on Saturday, July 25th, beginning at 10 a.m. at McDonough 35 Senior High School. Students will receive a free backpack filled with school supplies while supplies last. We also have limited laptops, gas cards, and more. Be there Saturday, July 25th, 10 a.m. at McDonough 35 Senior High School. Let's inspire the city.
This is
Andronica Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Our number 504-582-9422. Hey, Ron.
What up, G-Man?
What's going on with your big buddy?
I'm trying to be. Of course, me extraordinaire. How you doing, my sister?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking.
Hey, that's something she answered to that, don't she?
Oh, look, I had my baby this weekend at Aaron. Oh, my God. I'm missing him already.
Yes, indeed. What you got for us?
I know that's right. Well, y'all know, first shouts out to the Fatherhood Roundtable as well as the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. Let me say this, man. As a parent that lost my son, you know what I'm saying, and not in that manner, but I don't. How can I say this? I didn't agree with how I lost him by being an accidental drowning. However, I accept. I didn't want that outcome, but I rather that outcome because I'm gonna be real with y'all, man. If my son would have been murdered by a police officer or even somebody in the street, or went overseas somewhere with his friends and everybody else came back and he didn't, man, listen, they was going to have to join him. I'm sorry. Because, see, where we take and mess up at, like Galloway was saying a little while ago, with all this, you can kill one of my family members and I forget. Man, listen, forgiveness is for you, not for them. You heard me? So, another thing too, by me being with some of these families that has been impacted by violence, period, I see the games that these people play, whether it be the judge or the attorney or the prosecutor. Nolan Mama said that when she first went to inquire about her son, they didn't want to give her no information over here. Then they sent her over there. They didn't want to give her no information. Then they sent her over. So I'm all these games when all y'all work basically for the same system. May not be for the same entity, but the same system. When y'all could just transfer the system, where she got to go at. So, man, listen, all that, forgiving stuff and hugging the judge, man, we got to cut that out, bro. Because at the end of the day, I understand about being friendly and all that, but Nolan had no business going with them boys, especially in Mississippi, where Mississippi have a history of doing not just what they done to him, but look what Mississippi did to their own kind that came down here to help the people with voting rights and things like that. And they did that to their own people. And we already know what they did to us, like Emmett Till, and I can go on and on. So, I mean, sometimes we got to stop putting ourselves in vicarious situations for us to be saved. Trying to have a heart and love everybody because whether it be Nolan, whether it be Carmelo, whether it be Philando Castile, all those brothers loved, and they got the opposite in return. So, it's like what Kevin be saying. Keep on doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But what the problem is, we always on the wrong side of the outcome, dude, every time. And then we got to, like Malcolm said, when the enemy come and put a noose around our neck, then we the problem because we're trying to get the noose around our neck.
Yep.
So I'm going to stop right there, man, because I get excited a little bit. But we got to start doing better, man.
All right.
Like, for real.
I think that
brother.
you raised an excellent point. My final thought, are we too trusting? Before we leave today, I want you to ask a question. Have we become too trusting? Are we putting our kids in these situations where they're the only black person?
Mm-hmm.
And are we too trusting to when we put our kids in those environments? You know, as parents, we teach our kids to be kind, to make friends, to enjoy life, and to judge people based on their character and not necessarily their color. But are we putting our kids in harm's way? And should we be teaching them the other narrative?
Let me ask you a
to
question.
keep your eyes open.
Because everybody asked me this question one time before. Let's say that, and God knows I don't want this to be anybody's child, but let's say that is your child, and you're in this predicament. The last time somebody asked me, they said, "Could you forgive?" And I was honest. I was like, maybe at some point in time down the road, but right now, no.
I would like to believe that as a Christian, I have it in my heart to forgive, but I know how much my children mean to me, and I just don't know that I have that capacity.
Oh, I already know. I don't. Not right now.
Nolan Wells' death has touched families across this country because every parent, particularly black parents, can imagine receiving that phone call. Every parent can imagine the unanswered question, and every parent hopes that they never have to experience that kind of loss. So tonight, you know, I'm just going to tell our listeners to hug your children, call them if they're not in your home. We need to start having very difficult conversations.
Yep.
We need to teach our kids to enjoy life, but also to think ahead, to look out for one another, to maybe not be the only one, to act quickly when something goes wrong. You know, I recently shared that my grandson was invited on a overnight fishing trip, camping trip, where he was going to be the only black boy. And it was 2 white male chaperones going on this trip, 2 fathers. And my daughter put her foot down and said, if his dad can't go, he can't go. You know, this could be my grandson we're talking about right now, but for the grace of God. And I just think that we all need to educate our children on racial animosities in this country and the racial history of this country. And that, you know, while it would be nice if we could live in a world where you can just judge people on the content of their character, racism is alive and well in America. It's alive and well in the world, and our children are still being victimized.
Yep.
This is not the only black man to go missing in Mississippi.
Yeah. With that being said, which I agree with 100%, we got to get out of here. Wishing Nolan Wells' family, his immediate family, his friends, Godspeed, and of course, we're with you. May he rest in peace, and I hope that they do find who did this, or if something happened. We will keep up all the information as it comes. So with that being said, we got to go. Hug your kids tonight.
Look, take care of yourselves, take care of each other.
Yeah.
Watch each other's backs out there.
And we will see you on tomorrow. Whatever you do safely and carefully is the way we want you to do it. Y'all have a good evening.